another collab with the Facebook group V Loves Collabs, and I'm so excited. I love doing these collabs with all of the other mamas, and I just think they're fun. So this one is called the Things I Wish I Knew Before I Had Kids, and this was created by the Simply BTs. So I will put the playlist below and link everybody's channels, so check them out. And here we go. Okay, so just a little background if you're not a subscriber of mine or just a friend. I have 4 daughters, ages 11 to 2, so I have a good range there, and I've been a mom for a while now. But I do know that the wisdom has not completely come in, and I do know that I have a lot more to learn. So these are just some of the things that I wish I knew before I had kids, or if I could tell myself these things before my babies came. The number one is that I will not get any sleep. Oh my heavens. Literally this last week, I shouldn't even say this last week, yesterday, last night is the first full night of sleep that I have had in a very long time. My kids they just never slept through the night until they were about a year old. But then by that time, there was another one coming. So, you lose so much sleep. And we actually realized that I have really bad migraines sometimes, and we figured out after eliminating a lot of other triggers that the lack of sleep is what's causing most of my migraines. So when I don't get a lot of sleep, I get a migraine. So the amount of sleep that you get when you have a kid is very little. And I am so grateful for last night. I feel like a whole new woman. And I really hope and pray that this kind of nights continue. The second thing that I wish that I knew is just how much work breastfeeding was. Oh my goodness. I breastfed all 3 of my birth children. And I just, before I had my, I hate saying it like this, but before I had Belle, before I had my first birth child, I just, assumed that breastfeeding was kind of like bottle feeding, and you just, stick your boob in the baby's mouth and you can keep on going. And I'm a big multitasker, so I always thought that I could just hold my baby and do the dishes, or, I had a whole hand free. I could do some laundry. I could pick up around the house. But the fact of the matter is when you're breastfeeding, there's nothing else you can do. You cannot do anything else. There is no multitasking. You have to sit and you have to feed your baby. And I didn't even realize the amount of bonding that really was there. I just figured it was just another way of feeding the baby, and it was a cheap way, so that's the way we went. But there is so much bonding in breastfeeding, and I just think that I'm so grateful for that choice that I made, but I had no clue what I was getting into when I did. So it is a lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of work, but it's totally worth it. The third thing that I wish that I knew is, I guess, how to handle the guilt that I have. I feel guilty about a lot of things, and I feel like, I don't even know, there's so much that I shouldn't feel guilty about, but I do. Even last week, I had a breakdown, I guess. I didn't really. I just cried because I just am constantly feeling guilty. I stay at home. So there's I always have in the back of my head these questions well, if I was working, then we could afford this toy or this trip or this club or this team for my daughters to join. And because we are a one-income family, money's kind of tight, and we have to prioritize on what is important. And not that I think that my kids are missing out on things, but I also kind of do feel like they're missing out on things. And I feel a huge, enormous amount of guilt. And I wish I could handle that better, because at the end of the day, my kids are happy. And that's really all that matters. So I wish that I knew better ways of handling my guilt. And I wish that I knew that I was going to feel guilty about everything too. The fourth thing that I wish I knew before I had kids is I remember being pregnant and I walked into the baby aisle and there's so much stuff. There's even stuff that you have no idea what it's for. And even today, I still don't even know what some of that stuff is for. There are so much gadgets and lights and sounds and just things that are like, they just kind of like bombard you with everything, and they act like you have to have this. Your baby is not going to survive. Your baby is not going to thrive. Your baby is not going to succeed in anything if you don't have all of this stuff. And the truth of the matter is all your baby needs is you. That's it. That's really all your baby needs. It needs to be clothed, it needs to be fed, and it needs love. And that is it. That's it. That is it. So I really wish I could go back and tell myself, so that I wouldn't start feeling guilty about everything, is that my kids don't need all of the latest gadgets, everything that the stores tell you you need. You don't need any of that. You don't. So, the sixth thing that I wish that I knew was that, like, my husband would still find me attractive, still want me, still love me and think I'm beautiful with baby spit up in my hair, with me smelling like a potty training child because they've had accidents everywhere and I'm on my hands and knees cleaning it all day long. That I'm a mess, and that, you know, there's a day or two that goes by and I can't take a shower because I'm constantly watching these kids, and he still thinks I'm cute. I love him to pieces and thank him for always trying to make me feel good about myself, even when I know that I'm a mess. The sixth thing that I wish that I knew was that the baby stage is very physically hard, with lack of sleep, and you're constantly doing stuff. You're just constantly, it's nonstop. They need you to do everything for them. It's very physically demanding. But the middle school age is very emotionally draining. This is the age where they're really coming into their personality and into their own, and having their own ideas and opinions about things, and sometimes it's absolutely not what you want. And they, you know, I've been told that the child that fights you is, the reason they're fighting you is because they feel safe with you. And Lord heavens, does my child feel safe with me, because she fights and she puts up any argument she can. I feel like it's almost for fun, just to watch mom get to her breaking point. It is very emotionally hard. It's tough. It's tough. This middle school age, nobody, I don't feel like anyone warns you about middle school age. And it is one of the hardest ages ever so far. I am crossing my fingers that teenage years are a little easier, because this middle school age is just, it's hard. So then the last thing that I wanted to say before I had kids, I had an aunt, and my aunt was a stay-at-home mom, and I saw how, I don't want to say that she went crazy, but I feel like I could see her just going crazy. She just, I mean this in the greatest way possible, but I felt like she was losing it. And I, you know, before I had kids and not really understanding everything that she was going through, I was looking at her like, I am never going to be like that. I am not going to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm not going to lose my identity. I am not going to go crazy and, you know, just like, oh, I can't even explain the way that she just was getting like aggravated about every little thing with her kids. And in my head, it was because she was around them 24/7. And so I was just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And now that I am exactly what my aunt was, I'm a stay-at-home mom full-time with my kids all the time. And I totally understand. I totally understand why she was feeling the way she was feeling, and why she was, you know, saying the things that she was saying and acting the way that she was acting, and just how stressed she was. And even knowing that and understanding that and seeing that, I am so grateful for my life and for being a stay-at-home mom and spending all this time with my kids, because it is so rewarding. Before I had kids, I had a whole plan of going back to school, finishing school, going to work full-time, putting my kids in daycare, and not that there's anything wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I am just so grateful that my life allowed me to stay home with my kids. This has been the most amazing time period in my life so far that I would not change it for a thing. All of these little tiny things that I get to see with my kids and experience my kids and really feel like I know my kids. I know them. I know their personalities. I know everything about them, and I wouldn't want to change that at all. So I've experienced so much with my kids, and I am grateful for all of it. So those are the things that I wish I knew before I had kids. If I could go back in time and tell myself all those things, I think everything probably would have stayed the same. I don't think I would have changed anything, but at least I would have been a little bit more aware of some things. It wouldn't be such a shock. I would be really curious to hear what me in the next 5-10 years would tell myself now, because this journey is, I feel like, just one hill has gone over with my kids kind of ending baby stage and entering toddler and middle school and going sort of into teenage years. I'd be interested to see what it's going to be like in 10 years. My life's going to look totally different. So I'm excited though. I love this life. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks again to Be Love Collabs for putting this little thingy together, and for Simply BTs for creating this. I'm so excited to watch everybody else's. Please make sure that you check them out too. Hit subscribe while you're on it. And I would like to ask you to leave a comment about one thing that you wish you knew before you had kids. Thanks guys. Bye.